It is the pink elephant theory. If the guest wants a pink elephant, get them a pink elephant. If you can't find a pink elephant, get a horse, paint it pink, convince the guest it's an elephant. Do whatever it takes to ensure they're happy. That's it. Are they happy? Chris Adams here with us. It's the Pink Elephant Podcast. We have Stanford Reid with us on the podcast today. Man, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to be here. Nice to meet you, Chris.
You as well. We have plenty to talk about today. One, I'd love if you could just take a couple of minutes and let those that are watching, listening right now, if you kind of read about you and who you are, what you do, your travels. You've been performing all over the globe, a lot in Eastern Asia. Tell everybody just a little bit about what you've been doing.
Well, it started off, I would say started off about in 2014. I started producing music more and decided to record something, put something out there. Was in the New York City scene, going to open mics, trying to get myself out there. Was invited to go to Vietnam because I could play saxophone, and I hadn't been. I kind of took some time off from playing, but when I picked it up, people gravitated to that. Invited me to play in Vietnam. Went there, through some good connections, had a very beneficial situation where I was able to tour from Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia. That was a very enriching experience and developed me as an artist, because I was doing so many types of shows, over that period of time. And so, and developing facets. Upon arriving back to the States, I just been, wearing many hats. So I curate events. I play saxophone in public, on the train station, on the train itself. I promote shows that way. I do guerrilla marketing. I curate events and create opportunities for other artists. I have a band. I play for weddings. I just started a taco company on Uber Eats. So right now a sound could go off and someone's going to go and make a waffle. If I have time, I can scoop it. But I got a few people helping out, a little small team helping out to make sure we can cover the orders. And and I also have a 4-month-old son.
Man, you have stuff going on from every single direction right now. So let's start with the fact that, all right, so in the entertainment business, you got the opportunity to go over to Vietnam, which is a beautiful. I don't know if a lot of people realize how beautiful it is over there. How much has being over in that culture, how different is it being in, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam versus New York City, and the response that you got over there? How has that been different from being stateside?
Well, I would say that I was born in Maryland, so I'm originally from Maryland. I went to high school in Atlanta. So to New York City, I guess I am an implant. I'm an immigrant here. I migrated here. So, but I kind of fit in because the way I look, maybe, people can see that people from here that look like me, and that thing would, kind of make it a certain situation you have in New York City. You can go to a neighborhood where it's another culture mostly, and you find out, oh, New York does have pockets where you could be the odd one out, like the one who looks different.
Mm-hmm.
And people still would have gotten used to, at least a little bit used to. So it's not like they're like, wow, what is this?
Yeah.
Who is this person? I never saw anyone that looks like him, except on TV, So in Vietnam, that factor plays a huge role in it. It's a huge part in it because, anywhere I go, it's like, wow, hey. So it's either wow, hey, or it could be very rarely, but oh, wow, hey. Like, I don't know how, but most people, generally they see you as human. They're not really paying attention so much to race, except to the fact that you look different. So we know you're not from here, and we know you have interesting or different experiences that I would love to talk to you about. Maybe if I can speak the same language, or if you know a little bit of my language, and then that's where integration becomes,
Very
you know,
cool.
yeah.
Very cool. So you get back to how long have you been back into New York? When did you get back stateside?
I returned. That's almost 2 years ago.
2 years
Maybe,
ago.
yeah, about 2 years ago.
How did it change when you got back to New York? Did it affect you when you came back? Were you a different person when you came back to New York than when you left from that experience over there?
It's a very different person. Uh, very different. I would say that I had a lot more organization skills, but I had a much larger worldview, and I also could I felt more familiar and connected to the sense of cultural identity in New York City. So as I go through New York City, I can see the different cultures, and I could understand, oh, some of the things that I'm seeing are cultural. They're not just like, individual. Growing up like how I grew up, it's more of a sense of individuality. Like I feel like I'm just me. But then you kind of learn like, oh, there's a culture you're connected to, and then you have racial identity and these things. But beyond that, there's more of a singularity. But I can see the culture since returning.
Did it affect? Because now I'm curious when you talk about your music and how you perform and being on stage. How much did being over there did it affect? Even stylistically, did you pick up things being on that side and start to integrate it into your sound? And did your music change at all?
Yeah, definitely. It happened immediately. First it started from me learning my first Vietnamese song. It's like a melody.
Okay.
And there's a song with lyrics. I learned how to sing the song, and then you learn, the melody. And they really want the melody to be exact. Like it's not like you can just like play like a supposed of this melody. And when it's exact, people will automatically look like that. That's the melody I know and love. And so I began integrating those types of melodies into my performance, whether it be I play a song of hip hop genre or Afrobeat genre or reggae or anything, and I would superimpose or play out these melodies there, and people would acknowledge that they can feel the melody of what I'm playing, and they loved my take on that. That really it really made them feel more connected to what I was doing musically.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So, I guess rewinding a little bit, growing up, what got you into music? What was that thing other than just knowing you loved it your entire life? Was there something specifically that you said, you know what, this is what I'm supposed to do the rest of my life?
Um, well, that kind of happened in segments. I started playing music very young, drums, piano. My grandmother taught me how to play piano. Then I didn't want to play piano anymore. Saxophone was an instrument that I picked up because I saw a saxophone on the Tonight Show, and then after beginning to play sax, you go from middle school, high school. You could go to college and play sax, but I didn't go to college immediately after high school, and I started working. I began playing saxophone a little bit more in the professional realm because I'm just playing like jazz clubs or playing
Mhm.
at churches and being paid to do so.
Yep.
Uh, and then um, I kind of went into different careers. I did different things. I went to school. I put down the sax for about 3 years solid. I didn't touch a saxophone. After deciding to pick it back up, I realized, that I remembered right. I love doing this. Why wasn't I doing this all along? And then it started to bring new opportunities to me in my life. And then I also wanted. I had like some environmental initiatives, types of things like projects that I want to do that uh I realized that to kind of promote and propagate those types of things, it'd be good to have like a influencer or an ambassador for you for your cause. And so I decided to kind of, use music more or less as a way to develop like a whole movement, so that those types of things that I could do, I could inspire that. Even if I didn't do it myself, I could inspire people that
Yeah.
kind of change. It kind of makes my ideas more of a franchise rather than just, a couple of locations that I own. Um, and so, yeah, I at this point, returning from Vietnam, after going there, having a lot of time to invest in the more detailed parts of making and producing music, which that's not really, to me, is not connected to artistry. So I had to balance between technical aspects, artistic aspects, and then upon returning, I had those two kind of under control, and then the business aspects kind of became more relevant. And so then I had to balance. So I've been balancing out these aspects, and then I have to try to move them all together. So I'm it just music as my thing I knew I wanted to do for the rest of my life is something that I realized that it's a developmental process. It's just my own personal, feel like my own my personal development. Like
It's just the
it's like,
journey, it's the
yeah,
path that
yeah,
you're really on. It's almost a never ending process, right? I mean, it's like every day there's something else that happens, or um, I don't know. I guess in your day to day life that continues to inspire um, and keep you passionate about doing it. Do you find yourself? Do you write a lot?
writing. I theoretically, yeah, yes, I would. I would say that I need to put more time into it. I would always like to write more.
Yeah. Do you find when you do write, is it driven off of something that's happened to you personally, something that is driving, like you need to get it out of you onto paper?
No, not exactly.
No.
No, no. A lot of times, I like to either write like thought process, like that's just like maybe just like whatever thought process I have right now. Maybe I just decided to write it,
Yeah.
or I like to write abstractions.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So, I mean, it's literal art for you. It's just it's abstract thoughts that you're able to get down on the paper. I love that. What is as you're back in New York now? What are you seeing on the music side? What's your focus now? Are you back playing in clubs? Where do you find yourself spending the majority of your time?
Right now, I'm doing everything. Finding balance right now. Uh, this month, this month I've been dividing my time between being at home and selling waffles,
We got to get into that in a minute, right? We got to
performing,
we got to jump into the waffle thing in a second.
performing, performing the few events. Around this season, I didn't try to book any of the venues. This is a very busy season. I don't know why. I just felt like doing it another way. So I haven't been doing as many concerts that I curate. Maybe one or two per month.
Okay.
That sounds like a lot, I guess, but it's not much to me. Um, and then playing in a train. I did that today for a bit. My goal is to kind of do that maybe 3, 4 times a week for like 2 or 3 hours, because it's a good way to promote my company. It's a good way to promote my shows. Mm, uh, yeah, and I
Do you
spend
see
a lot of time with my son.
how's the response from when you're on the train and you're playing? Like majority of the time, how's the response from those that are on the train listening, passing by? What is that like?
It's generally really good response all the time, every time. Is a good response. There could be. it doesn't mean that you make the same amount of money. Uh, I guess you call it a great response when you make a lot of money.
I
Uh,
mean, yes and no. I think sometimes more powerful than money is the personal response. It's words that somebody's saying to you. It's things they're saying as they're passing by, stopping and telling you how how incredible something is, or what you're doing inspires them. Sometimes that's worth more than the money they can hand you.
yeah, exactly. Nowadays, in the present, in a, modern world, I have a friend who goes also on the train who goes up and down the aisles, and he has QR codes that lead to like Venmo and Cash App. So a lot of times, those messages, the things people get to say to me come via Venmo or Cash App. I can see the message that they sent there. I can respond back. There's also people who, that I think when they donate, it gives them an opportunity to maybe cross the room when they would just have gone normally and just like had that inside only. They come back and they find a way to share it with me, which that's what makes it go full circle. Uh, I it's all, but you're right though. It's more. It's for me. It's always been more than the money. It's just I would say that they kind of go together. And there's a thing where you could think that maybe you could make people who aren't feeling so good feel better, and that is the truth. But I have also seen it work in a situation where people may feel below a threshold that if I introduce a saxophone to that situation, those people actually would feel lower because it would lower their vibration because they don't want that right now. And so I know the times of day when there's a different type of energy there, and I have respect for that. I know that there's a certain time where they just don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean that's genius also to be able to recognize that and be intuitive enough to make sure that you're providing that at the right moment for them, which is super cool. What do you see as next? Before, because I feel like this waffle thing is gonna dominate a conversation. I'm so intrigued by it. But before we go there, outside of that, what do you think is next for you from where you're at, music, what's your vision for next, career wise, and your artistry? Where do you see that going?
Well, I believe that there is a particular type of camaraderie that will be added to my situation that I hadn't had so much of. In Vietnam, I had a sense of this camaraderie, but that was, it was compartmentalized to Vietnam. Returning to America, I have a lot of different groups that I've been working with, but we haven't done so much concrete things. Concrete things could be as simple as, creating a song together that we
Yeah.
promote, or collaborating on a music video project or a piece of content that's like a high level production. And I have a few of those types of things underway with various friends. And there's a lot of friends who, we can talk about it, but life has its twists and turns. I like to try to, do whatever I can to kind of loosen up or lubricate those situations uh so that it will make it much easier for people that I want to collaborate with to find the time, whether it be financial compensation or something like a retainer or something like that,
Hmm.
to retain their interest in this busy, ever changing world.
For sure. For sure. So, all right, this new business you've launched, it's a waffle business. So
Yeah.
tell me to dive into that. Tell us about what it is, what you're doing. I got to hear more.
So I've my partner. She's big on the vegan food. Like she always has been. I think she's been vegan for like the past decade or so. Me, I returned from Vietnam and I tried to eat meat in America. I was eating meat in Vietnam, but when I first arrived there, I was vegan, or mostly. And I realized that, oh, I don't really enjoy the meat in America, how it makes me feel. And dating her and being introduced to her diet, she introduced me to some processes. She had a lot of different types of processes, and uh, my record label has always been called Waffl. Waffl stands for woke as fuck for life. But it also has many other meanings, but that's just one of the more comical ones. And so it's without the E. And I was thinking that, wow, I've been selling tacos at my hip hop events. Um, a taco recipe that I originally got from her, and then I thought about the fact that, all right, we're called Waffl Records. We're already branded as that. Would be interested if we could like make a company called Waffl Taco. And then I just, that it started from that idea, put the energy behind it, partnered with Uber Eats, and now we deliver Brooklyn wide.
So explain it. Is it an actual waffle? Is it a waffle that is the outside shell like a taco, and then you're stuffing it with like an actual taco, uh, like meats and stuff like that?
Exactly. So the tagline is, it's a specialty vegan waffle with a taco twist and homemade sauce.
I like
Uh,
it.
yeah, so the taco twist, it could be, we have like a portobello beef. You won't know it's not beef. It's
Yeah,
not imitation of beef, but it's just so happen it tastes just like. We have a barbecue jackfruit. We have fried oyster mushroom. You can't tell it's not fried chicken. We have you can't tell the barbecue jackfruit not is not a pulled pork. We have, and we also have wild salmon, because I believe in the pescatarian diet a bit. I enjoy it. I know a lot of people would, so I added that to the menu, and I also added Beyond Meat, because it's pretty darn good sometimes. Seasoned just right. So I seasoned it up in a special way. We got our signature seasons and herbs blends. So yeah, that's Waffle Taco, and we're doing really good. We just launched on Uber Eats a few days ago, and it's been a very consistent numbers, and we're learning the trends of the weekly flow of how people would be ordering.
dude, that's super cool. I love that. One, it's outside the box thinking. Again, as an artist like yourself, it's doing things that's different, and going after a market that is, probably under tapped, right? When you talk about that market of people that are looking for these vegan type dishes, but doing it in such a cool, unique way. Um, I mean, I wish I was in Brooklyn right now to place an order.
Yeah,
I don't know how those will ship out to the West Coast, but it sounds amazing.
yeah, working on and another reason why I was passionate about making a company, because I wanted some waffles, and we had a waffle maker, but I didn't feel like making one, and it's kind of small, and I didn't feel like making such small ones, making over and over. So I brought Eggo waffles, and got home, and I was eating them, and then I called my sister on the phone, FaceTime. She was like, "Are you eating Eggo waffles?" I was like, "I just ate one. I kind of didn't like how it made me feel," and she said, "Oh, you still eat that?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know. I didn't think there was anything wrong with them." She said, "It has egg in it." I was like, "It's egg in it?" She said, "Yeah, it's egg in it." So I looked at the bag. I'm like, "Oh, it is egg in it." She said, "Yeah, eggo." I'm like, "Oh, eggo," and this made me. I threw them all away. I kind of threw them out. I didn't. I would have like donated them if I could, but I didn't want them. I left them in the freezer too long, and I didn't want to eat them anymore. But I was glad to make a vegan waffle. It doesn't have egg in it, made with spelt flour.
Yeah, yeah.
I, I definitely could package it up really nice and ship them, and if freeze them and ship them to you, I think they would come out really great. You throw them in the oven. Yeah,
Nice, man. It's I love hearing just individuals that I'm able to talk to, and hear that journey and that path of finding creativity, finding unique ways to bring something to market that somebody else has never thought of, that people fall in love with. And it's so cool to hear how you've taken this insane journey that you've had from New York, well, from Atlanta, New York, going out to Asia, going back to New York, having this insane career on the music side with everything that you're doing there, and then interpreting that into food and then bringing it to market with something that's so unique and different. Um, did you think that growing up, did you always want to kind of do your own thing? Were you always kind of like just this stand out, stand away from everyone else, and just always kind of had your own, I don't know, mindset going against the grain of what everyone else was doing?
I guess that was a lot of it. I would say that that vantage point kind of gave me more perspective that I used to help, like especially the adults when I was growing up, the adults solve problems. So they begin to like call me like the professor, or look at me as more like a Poindexter type of kid, because I would try to sit back and solve their problems, and my solutions would be pretty applicable.
That's very cool. So you got a little one, right? You've got a 4 month old, is that right?
Yeah, 4 month old son.
So now you've got a 4 month old son. How much has having um, having that son change your perspective, um, on what you do or what you want for them, how you want them to grow up, I guess, almost the world you're leaving behind for them? Has it changed you at all now that you have this 4 month old that's, I'm sure become your world?
It gives me more enthusiasm towards every bit of advancement. Knowing that these moves that I'm making today, uh, are 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 the building blocks of the future for him.
Yeah, it's crazy how much I think you realize as a parent, how much more you think about what you're doing, what you're leaving behind. And I don't mean materialistically and physically as much as it is the legacy that you're leaving and what you're instilling in them. And, what kind of adult are they going to become? It's so weird how, at least for me as a parent, how much you want to make them proud, your kids. And so I can tell you, my kids, they're not 4 months old anymore. They're older, and time flies. So take advantage of that little one, because you blink one day and they're teenagers going to college, and time flies, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's next for you? You got the waffle businesses popping off now. You've got all of things going on the music side. What do you think is going to be what's the next iteration of you? What do you see yourself diving into? What's the next 12, 18 months look like?
Next 12-18 months look like? I would say the next 12-18 months. My goal is to do some good catering, some high level business. Uh, I plan on spending some time in Atlanta, um, early on, like spring, couple months there, in order to see what type of growth I can help to facilitate for myself, and I have a community there that I would like to interact with, and see what that combination looks like. And I know it takes a bit of time investment in order
Yeah, yeah.
to get those results. So I want to invest that time in Atlanta. Um, my sister is there, and then I also have some plans for Vietnam. Uh, my goal is to streamline my waffle company, and have it operated by a small team, and able to just like run the city from like a very tiny kitchen,
Nice.
and set up a few of those in a few markets here, in New York and Atlanta, and then make it a mobile thing because it's going to be a part of our concert concept. When people
Right.
come to our concerts, it's brought to you by Waffle, and now you can get your own waffle.
That's super
You
cool.
actually, yeah.
Nice. So if people are going to try and find you, they want to try and follow you on social media, or they want more information on Waffl Taco. What's the best way for people to either getting in touch with you or just following your journey?
Yeah, if they type Stanford Reid on any social media platform, I'm right there. Uh, yep, that's pretty much it. It's Stanford Reid on any social media platform. StanfordReid.com. Uh,
That's
uh,
cool.
if you want
They,
Waffle Taco, you'll see that there as well.
Nice. So Stanford Reid's a one-stop shop to get everything you need. Follow your journey, and make sure that they're following along and getting access to everything you're doing, and just seeing what's happening. And then when they're in a city that Waffle Taco is, they can make sure they're jumping on that as well.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, man. I can't thank you enough for just spending a few minutes with us today, giving people a little access behind the scenes to what you've been doing, to what you have going on. Um, I encourage people to reach out, go check Stanford out on social media, go check out Waffle Taco. If you're in Brooklyn right now, place an order, place an order. I mean, I'm curious. This all the different flavors that you have going on sounds intriguing, man.
I'm kind of addicted to it myself. I'm about to go in there and eat one eat one now.
I love it. Thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out with us today. Stanford, we appreciate you. Again, you could jump online and check him out. Stanford Reid's the place to go so you can see everything he has going on. I'm Chris Adams at Chris Adams _EAG or www.ellisadamsgroup.com. We'll see everyone next week.